What's going on there, folks? Good evening. It is the Earthmaster back here on this, well, technically, it is Wednesday, March 15th, 2023, 12 o'clock a.m. along the West Coast in California, and I have a case of the deja vu. Just got through doing an earthquake update here on this channel and had some issues going on here on my end. Right now, it looks like everything is functionable. Latest earthquake shows a 1.0 into the California area. Do want to jump into that real quick and kind of chat quickly here about what's going on here along the West Coast. If you notice the lack of activity here across the Western Pacific for now, not a whole lot of activity kicking up here across this area. On the earthquake 3D globe, though, we do have some uptick in the 3 range on a broad scale area. This is telling me that things are starting to get ready to light up here across the region. We have been noticing a dead spell in earthquake activity across this area, with most of the movement here across the Eastern Pacific. Looking at the California region, we did see quite a bit of activity here that is leading to an earthquake watch out here in the West Coast, with movement along the San Andreas Fault. Quite a bit of earthquake activity out here, and quite a few threes. If you look at the magnitudes here, we've seen quite a few mid-3s, some 2s, and some smaller earthquakes here across this segment of the San Andreas Fault. That is the plate boundary out here between the North American and the Pacific Plate. Also some activity ramping up inland along the California shear zone. This is the Walker Lane area, the Fish Lake area, Fish Lake Valley Fault Zone. Seen quite a bit of earthquake activity here over the last 24 hours. This tells me here increasing pressure across the Western Pacific Plate, or the Western North American Plate, I should say, with continued movement and increasing hazard potential here across this plate boundary. A little bit of activity here off the San Jacinto Fault Zone. Some movement here along the Brawley Seismic Zone here. Notice that smaller activity here across the area. But overall general seismic activity definitely ramping up, including, it looks like, a 4.5 here along the Pacific and the Cocos Plate here. Plate boundary coming in within the last hour. Yellowstone National Park has been a signal of that increasing earthquake activity here. Let me show you guys real quick. Over the last 24 hours here, we've only seen a handful of earthquake activity. But if we were to go back in the last previous day, we can see a lot of earthquake activity ramping up here, specifically within a small amount of time, roughly about 5 or 6 hours or so. It's been over 24 hours now, but there was a lot of earthquake activity ramping up here in a short amount of time at Yellowstone National Park. It looks like the USGS, of course, last 24 hours has been dropped off, so we need to go to the 7-day magnitude map here to see about 152 earthquakes here around Yellowstone National Park. A lot of activity kicking up there in that area. An overall sign of general seismic activity increase here across the plate boundary and inward, did I just say inward? Inward activity across the North American continent there. South America, relatively quiet, but as you scoot over here to the west, definitely things kicking up here on a broad scale with quite a few 3s and some 4s out here around Philippines area. This may be a sign of looking at some larger scale activity in the region of this area, the Indonesia region. That could include some relief out here along the Eastern Pacific. We'll continue to watch that. There's not a whole lot of activity across the New Zealand area, nor Alaska area. The Takawanga and the Tanaga volcanoes still seeing some swarming. There has not been any major changes here across the area of the volcano regions. I'm just kind of doing a recap, folks, because literally I just got off of a long 30-minute update with an error. So that update was basically thrown in the garbage due to some skipping and some issues. So just going to recap what I just covered. Couple earthquakes out there in the mid-Atlantic range that could be indicative there of some further pressure out here along the North American and the South American plate. We'll continue to watch that area. Space weather movement here, folks. Goodness, I'm just a rerun. I feel like I'm in a rerun. Space weather activity, proton events in high mode, north and the southern polar regions here. And I believe this is coming from a CME that was blasted off here a day or so ago, but not Earth directed. This is from a day or so ago. And either way, the proton events are kicking up there on the D-layer absorption map up into the ionosphere. We'll continue to watch that. There's no major solar storms expected. We are looking at a little bit of KP index here within the last couple hours. Nothing major, but that is amplifying the forecast here just a little bit for the auroras at the higher latitudes around Alaska and Canada. Weather activity, just a real recap of West Coast activity. We see quite a bit of rainfall here along the California region. Over the last 24 hours, I picked up about 2 inches of rainfall here in my backyard just outside of Chico, leading to some flooding issues around the area. Over the next couple days, we got a little break before a next storm system coming in around the March 20th time frame, and a stronger system coming in after that. It looks like this unsettled pattern continues at least until the end of March. And we'll take a look at April once this forecast gets a little bit closer. But for now, I do hope everyone has a good day, good night. Again, it's one of those things. Apparently some issues happened here when I made a little adjustment with the resolution here for the video. Just the video. It was a little different than the 4K that's running out here across the area, or across the 4K across the stream that I'm running. But the video resolution was just going to be a little bit lower bit rate, and what that did was trigger a tsunami of data issues here on my end, and it became really choppy for the folks out here. So hopefully this one was back to normal. I switched it back to normal, and goodness, hopefully that doesn't happen again. Have a good night, folks. We'll catch you guys back here tomorrow, hopefully. Take care.